This is Katie Porter. She is the Congresswoman for California's 45th Congressional District. I call her Badass Boss Bitch because this girl, ever since she came to Congress about 2 years ago, she has done nothing but hammer and hammer away at the rich and the powerful in congressional hearings and making them look like the corrupt assholes that they are. And in this clip, you're about to see questioning a big pharma and making him look like the corrupt psychopath that he is. Take a look at this.
Mr. Gonzalez, how much did AbbVie spend on litigation and settlements from 2013 to 2018?
I don't have that number offhand. We'll be happy to give it to you.
Okay, $1.6 billion, $2.45 billion on R&D, $1.6 billion in litigation and settlements. What about marketing and advertising? How much does AbbVie spend on that?
Well, marketing and advertising, we spend about $4 billion a year.
Yep, 4.7, $1 billion. How about executive compensation, 2013 to 2018?
2013 to 2018, it's probably on average about $60 million a year.
Try 334 on for size. Now, how much did AbbVie spend on stock buybacks and stock buybacks and dividends to enrich your shareholders from 2013 to 2018?
Well, stock buybacks, if you actually look at just pure stock buybacks, it would be about $13 billion.
Stock buybacks and dividends is the question, sir.
Dividends, would have to come back with a number for that over that period of time.
$50 billion. So, Mr. Gonzalez, you're spending all this money to make sure you make money rather than spending money to invest in, develop drugs, and help patients with affordable life-saving drugs. You lie to patients when you charge them twice as much for an unimproved drug, and then you lie to policymakers when you tell us that R&D justifies those price increases. The big pharma fairy tale is one of groundbreaking R&D that justifies astronomical prices. But the pharma reality is that you spend most of your company's money making money for yourself and your shareholders. And the fact that you're not honest about this with patients and with policymakers, that you're feeding us lies, that we must pay astronomical prices to get innovative treatments is false. The American people, the patients, deserve so much better.
I love this woman. This woman needs to advance to the Senate. And she's like in her 40s, like, let's see, how old is she? Yeah, she's 47, not as young as AOC, but, she's pretty young. She could maybe run for president one day. I'd definitely vote for her. But I love how she holds the rich and the powerful and big pharma accountable. A lot of weak-willed Democrats were on the take from the corporate pharma mafia. They would just be like, could you answer this question? I don't have an answer. Oh, wait, well, if you could come back later with an answer. Nope. Katie Porter's like, could you answer this for me? I don't have the answer. Well, I got the answer for you, fucker. Love it. Love it. Scene, cut, print, make it a movie. You get the idea. This woman is awesome. It is so rare to see the rich and powerful be held accountable by our politicians because, like, all the Republicans are corrupt and 80%, maybe even 90% of Democrats are corrupt. So when you see genuine people like Katie Porter, it's sort of like it gives you hope. I guess that's why I saw people like AOC and the Squad and people, and also Katie Porter, and I guess that's why I had my hopes up for people like Bernie Sanders last year. But if someone like her can get into Congress, I'm pretty sure, and even Cori Bush, we have hope. Anyway, enough gushing. For context, she was questioning, I can't remember his name, but the CEO of AbbVie is like a pharmaceutical company. The Oversight and Reform Committee during that hearing announced a call from the House Democrats for the Federal Trade Commission to investigate AbbVie for its pricing of Humira, the best-selling drug in the U.S. and internationally, which tests rheumatoid arthritis and other inflammatory diseases. So here's the thing. They've increased AbbVie has increased its profits through that drug. Um, they raised the price of it 27 times. Nothing's changed about the drug. They just literally just raised the price because of greed, just simple greed. And Humira has now generated for them $3.9 billion in U.S. in profits in the United States alone. It'd be one thing if they raised the price because to cover costs. If, say, they updated the drug, if it treated rheumatoid arthritis and other diseases, it'd be one thing. If it was like, oh, well, we got to cover the cost because we've upgraded it, and to upgrade it, we had to pay more. That's one thing. But they haven't. They literally just they raise the price because they can, because we have this thing that Trump loves to brag about, deregulation. Price gouging laws basically don't exist anymore. Companies are allowed to charge whatever they want simply because they can, and they are that greedy. Also, Humira, which is a drug used to treat rheumatoid arthritis, other autoimmune disease, and gastrointestinal conditions as well, was released in 2003 when the company was Abbott Laboratories. AbbVie has since raised the cost to 27 times and by more than 470%, without any altercations, with an annual supply now costing about $77,000, meaning you might have to pay $77,000, depending on where you're at, to get this shit. Meanwhile, AbbVie, in conjunction with Janssen Biotech, has increased the price of Imbruvica, a drug used to treat mantle cell lymphoma and other blood-related cancers, by 82% since its launch in 2013, with, again, no altercations. In 2013, for a patient taking 3 pills per day, the drug was priced at $99,776 annually. Today, it's priced at $181,529 per year. For patients taking 4 pills each day, it costs $242,039. We are living in a second Great Depression and a pandemic. Does anyone think that anyone can afford these prices? Of course, you'll get a lot of people who say, well, that's just how it is. There are people who, including my own mother, who will literally just let the pharmaceutical people screw us. A recent visit to the doctor for me to get antibiotics for a tooth infection cost us $170. The bill to just simply see the doctor was $110, and then the antibiotics added it to a total of $175. With insurance, we could have gotten it for $40. Now I understand the $40, but that was outrageous. These people are allowed to charge this out the wazoo for these life-saving drugs, simply because their greed tells them to, and the law says, sure, why not? As long as you give us money for our packs. Ugh. And I'm glad to see that there are people like Katie Porter who will call these fuckers out. If you live, I don't know if I've said this already, but if you live in the 45th district, please support Katie Porter. Also, this sort of reminds me of it is, in my opinion, very similar to the Martin Shkreli case, explained best by Bill Maher.
Yes, by now most of you have probably heard the story of Martin Shkreli, the 32-year-old financial wondershit and Massengill spokesman who bought the rights to a life-saving drug called Daraprim, which is used by AIDS sufferers, cancer patients, and infants, and then jacked up the price of a single pill from $13.50 to $750. Even Ticketmaster was like, oh, come on. I'd say, how do you sleep? But I guess you just hang upside down in your cave. And now that Shkreli is, not that Shkreli is unusual for the pharmaceutical industry. 15 years ago, cancer drugs cost an average of $10,000 a year. Now it's $10,000 a month. because this cartel owns the U.S. government every bit as much as Mexican drug lords own theirs. And to all the conservatives who still parrot the line that Obamacare is a government takeover, please then explain why guys like Martin Shkreli are still calling the shots. He's not a bureaucrat who works for the government. He's a hedge fund manager who works for the devil. And here's his rationale.
And if there's a company that was selling an Aston Martin at the price of a bicycle, and we buy that company, and we ask to charge Toyota prices, I don't think that should be a crime.
Yeah, except that owning an Aston Martin is not a matter of life and death.
God, doesn't Martin Shkreli have just a face you want to punch in the face? By the way, here's the thing about people like Martin Shkreli. Martin Shkreli got a 7.5 years in jail, not for screwing over poor people by jacking up the price of life-saving medication, but for screwing over rich people who invested in his hedge fund. So while he did go to jail, it wasn't because this shitheel decided to fuck over poor people. It's because he fucked over rich people. This system is corrupt, and I'm glad to see that Katie Porter is willing to stand up to these morons. To these mafia-like people. Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed. I want everyone to stay awesome, stay progressive. If you live in 45th District of California, support Katie Porter, and may the force be with you.